So let's go to Mixamo, log in and search for cover. And we only want to search animations. Yeah. So let's see what kind of cover we need. Taking cover is one. So you can see this one turns around. So we probably need this one. Also make sure when you click it that if it hasn't assigned the SWAT, change the character to the SWAT soldier. So we have this one. Let's stand to cover. We need this one later on as well, I think. Standing cover idle, something we need. Let's see. It's really like it's on a wall. I wanted it to be a little bit less in an attacking pose here, but it's okay for now. Let's look forward. There we go. Right cover, sneak with rifle. Oh, don't forget to hit add to pack. So I'm adding the stand to cover, and the first one was the stand to cover, this one. Yeah. Let's check. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you can see right now here. You can see the two things. One, stop it. One, it will move from this position towards this position, which is an animation move, and we want to cancel that one out because we don't. I just want to move in position. Yeah, we don't really jump this far. So this is one thing. The other thing is that we are, if you think in terms of direction, if this is the x factor to the x-axis this way, for instance, it will be this way. But if we look at stand to cover, it will go to the other way. So we probably rotate this one around as well. So we end up with our back like this. Okay. But that's set. We're going to change, add more. So we have stand to cover, standing cover, idle, and then we need the left cover, sneak with rifle. Let's see. Yeah, fine. Again, if you got your own animations, do whatever you want. Right cover with rifle. This way. We cannot simply mirror it because it will change its arms. Now I'm a lefty here right now, and right here we are right-handed, so we cannot simply rotate it. Okay, with this set, let's call this cover, and let's add to my assets. And now you can download your assets. Queue it, T-pose. We don't really need a character, so set the pose to no character, I think. And download it. Okay, with the cover animations now downloaded, let's import them to Unity by simply dragging them in to our models, player, soldier, pro, and just gonna put them here in the with the rest. Go away. Here? Nope. Darn. Here. So now we have added them. Let's see. So we got, like I said, we had the drag a model here. Let's see if it works. You can see here. This is the walk. And the other side, but what's this? Standing in cover, and we have the stand to cover. Again, you can see all the other animations are in place. You know, running is in place, but stand to cover isn't in place. It will jump like a few feet ahead. So we're gonna kill that. We're gonna kill that transforms the position change. Okay, but first, standing cover to idle. Let's first take a look at our animation controller, because let's open up a larger window here. We have this base layer where we are moving, and then we got our aim on our aiming. Does it say here? Can we rename this aiming? There we go. So what we want to do, we want to do whatever we are doing right now in this base layer, but when we are covering, we want to do something else. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a substate machine. You can get it by right-clicking on the gray area here, create the substate machine. Let's call this default. And it's basically a substate. It can be you can access a substate by a parameter or something, and then execute this part. And in the other state, we're going to execute something else, but it's going to be in the same layer. So we are keeping the aim angle and the aiming and all the layers and stuff we have here without breaking it up. Okay. So with this, let's copy this over. Select everything. Hit copy. Then we can delete it here safely. Double click the default. And now I hate it that I cannot unzoom it here. Working on my laptop, it's not always the best thing. So you can see here we have here a link, which is basically if we double click it, will go back to the up layer one more up, and we have an exit, any state, and entry. So let's paste down. Whoops, I lost it here. Come back. There we go. Copy, paste, and then I'm going to move it here. Going back one more state to delete this part again. There we go. So this will be our default state again, the run. So basically this will hopefully not change anything at all. No, it doesn't. See, everything still works the way we want. But the only thing we have changed is we created a default substate machine where the animator will go and do whatever we did before. However, so what we need now is a new parameter here, parameter, whatever you pronounce it like, parameter, and then it's going to be a bool parameter, and we're going to call it is in cover. Is in cover, is cover, is in cover. Yeah, now you can also see this default line here, this line for the default state. Let's right click on the entry and then select this one and then head over to the run. Okay, so this will work. This will work how we want it. Now, let's see what we need to do now. If you go to the base layer, I'm sorry, let's go back to the default layer by double clicking. I'm saying double clicking, but is it? Yeah, double clicking the layer, and then we want to make sure that we exit the state when we are covering from any of these. Well, any of these. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a transition to the exit from all blend trees here, and the exit condition will be is in cover true, and uncheck the has exit time, so it will immediately go to the exit when we are going to cover. So again, for this one, the same. Sorry, is in cover true, and for this one, and the last is the sprint. Okay, so now what will happen is we will exit. What will be a nice place to put it? Nowhere, because it looks just terrible. yeah, well, here then. So we exit the state whenever we go into cover, and now we're going to make a transition here from default to a new substate. Well, let's first just make an empty state here. Let's call this cover, and let's make a transition here. And this transition will be isn't cover true. Yeah, and we'll make a transition back, I think, to the default state. Not really sure why it's gray. State between transitions are not previewable. Okay, whatever. And if we are in cover true, we go back without an exit time. I think something like this. We have to test it out. Let's add the let's make another state here just for testing, and we're going to call this cover idle, and we're going to make this our go into cover, you know. So let's call this our take cover. The animation will be our, we haven't renamed them yet, so let's do it. So back to the cover animations. So we have to take cover idle. So let's rename this cover idle. And we're gonna loop this one. And then we have the stand to cover. Let's call this stand, well, the way it is, to cover. And we're not going to loop this because this will play once to get in cover. Yeah. So let's apply it, and then we are going to assign the stand to cover here to the take cover, and then we're going to make a transition where, so when the animation has played, we're going to make a transition towards the idle cover. Yeah. So let's add the taking cover idle. Let's see. We're just going to test this out and see what happens. It's a little bit trial and error when you're starting out with it. So. Okay. So let's move forward a little bit so we can go in cover. Well, it doesn't really matter because we have to go. We are going for the SWOT model here. So now we can see the animator in action. Let's remove this view here. It's not that important. Now we're gonna go to the up. Oh no, it stays in the run. So now we check the is in cover. Okay. You can see when we are in cover, it will exit to the state. However, it keeps going back. So the good thing is we can let's see. This should be in cover false, I guess. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so now you could see what was going on. And now let's make a new transition here to the exit. Let's pause it a little bit. This won't work. Okay, so we're gonna make an exit from cover idle to exit, but only if we are not in cover anymore. Okay, so let's check in cover. Nice. Keeps going here. Now we exit it and then we'll go back. The only thing is we still need to uncheck the has exit time, otherwise it will first complete this animation and then loop over. So let's uncheck it. Now you could already seen what is going on here. So let's check the is in cover and look at the player. It will do the animation and then it will switch back. And that's what's I'm sorry. That is what I was talking about earlier. The animator will let us the animation is rotated. Now the first thing we want to do is remove this little jump he makes. We don't want to make it let it make that jump. So what we can do, and I have to be honest that sometimes I cannot make this the way I want, because we have the apply root motion here. It's unchecked. Now we need, because we want to stop the root motion of the root bone of the animation. So if we look at the stand to cover, and I think we have to select the right root motion node. Now you need to find out what it is. I don't think it's this one, no. So that's a little bit difficult. I believe you can look it up in the maybe it's this one. Nope. Well, let's stop trying here and let's open up the folder. I'm copying the complete path, and I go to Blender, remove this part, and then import the FBX and the animation. Something with cover, taken covered, stand to cover. So now with it imported, let's move over to the animation view. Now, if we play it now, let's see how it works. Whoops. If we play it, you can see it. You could see it moving. Yeah. Now we want to remove this transformation change, this translation here. So I'm guessing one of these bones. So we go to post mode, select this bone. Yeah, this looks like the root bone because it moves everything. Yeah. And which one is this? Can we see it here? There we go. SWAT hips. SWAT hips. Okay. I'm not really sure in which one, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna try it again. So it should be the SWAT hips. If this doesn't work, we're gonna remove the transformation here from the animation. Okay. But first I want to check if this if we can get this to work. So again, the stand to cover animation. Oops, stand to cover. What did I say? SWAT hips, right? Nope. There's nothing else here. I cannot select this one. I don't think it's this one. No. So, well, like I said, I'm always struggling with this. So what we're going to do with this animation here, we're going to remove this translation. Yeah. So what we're going to do, just like I did, go to pose mode and select the select the bone here, and then look at the locations, and we're gonna delete those by pressing X. Yeah? So now if we play it, it will play it in place. Okay. So with this done, let's save it. Go back to the entire folder where you have it. Oh, of course I need to export it. I'm sorry. Export to FBX. Go to the folder. Let's call it the same as we had. So stand to cover. There we go. Let's see what happens if we try it now. and nothing. Funny. Why not? We have a lot of crap coming back in here, so maybe that's the problem. Let's go back to the default and let's get rid of all the stuff we don't want. I cannot really select everything here, so I'm just gonna hit here. We can delete everything except the armature. Okay, let's save it up. Sorry, let's export this again, see if this did any change. It's still animating, yeah. Stand to cover, yeah, export. Okay, could be that the rig is now messed up or something, but we'll see. Ah, there we go. So now you could see. So it was the stuff. So if I uncheck this in cover, and when I check it, it will move in cover, and it's in this place. It looks a little bit weird because we lost the movement. So now we have the stand to cover swapped around in place. It still does a little hip jump here, so it's not very good animation, but we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it and maybe change it later on. Okay, but what you see now is in the end, if you look at this small arrow here, we are aligning ourselves with our back against the arrow. But if we look at our taking cover idle, you can see it's the other way around. So we need to rotate it around, but make sure that our right hand is our weapon. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to import this animation and flip it on the y-axis and also on the x-axis to get it right. So back into Blender, get rid of. Make sure you have a new space, so you don't import the FBX on top of the previous animation. Just delete this one. Then we're gonna open the. We're gonna import the FBX. The taking cover idle. Let's get rid of all the other stuff. So unselect everything with A. Then maybe box select is even more easy to use. Just make sure you don't delete anything that we don't want to be deleted. Just keep the armature. So if we look closely here, it might be a little bit difficult to see, but this is his head, this is his right hand right here, and this is left hand, left arm. Okay, so we want to rotate this around. So select everything, hit scale on the y-axis by hitting Y -1, and again scale on the x-axis -1. So now if we look, we have flipped it around but still got the right arm here and the left arm here. So okay, so I think this is going to work. So let's export it again to Soldier Pro, taking cover idle, back to Unity. So now it should be flipping over. There you see. See, now it's the other way around. So where this one ends, like this, we're gonna start here. We will see a weapon going around, or a head going the different way, because if we look at the end animation, our head is looking to the left, and in this one we are looking to the right. But we cannot rotate it around the other axis, because then our weapon will be holding in the wrong arm. So we're gonna use the animation tween to make this a little bit more convincing. Okay, so select your cover idle and add the new animation. Change animation, cover to idle. I'm sorry, cover idle. And then let's see what happens if we hit the instant cover. There you could see what happened. switches really fast to this animation. But we can change that. If we look at our blender, where we blend the animations, if we do it like this, it will be it will take a second, I think, to switch this animation. So if you to switch to this animation, so if we do this again, really slow to the other side. So that's a little bit more convincing, but you can fiddle around with it some more until you got what you want. So what I'm going to try here is we're gonna start here in the end. Maybe start a little bit sooner. See what happens. That's a little bit too slow still. So let's increase the speed. Well, I think this will work, but what if we just trying some different stuff? Didn't see anything really different. It's only the start of the animation, I think. So you can fiddle around with it until you got what you want. I'm just gonna keep it like this. Let's see how it looks in game if we look at it like this way, in this way. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe a little bit faster, and then I'm done for it. Okay. So that's our animation in place, and now we need the animation to left and right movement. So let's flip those animations as well. Again, make sure you reload the startup file, delete the cube, and let's import the first one. Left cover sneak, and hit A to deselect everything, and then B to box select, press X to delete. Oops. Box X and sorry, and delete the last two. Okay, so I'm gonna guess we have to do exactly the same. So I'm selecting everything, scale on the X by pressing X -1, press enter. Hit S again to scale on the Y axis by pressing 1 -1, enter. And then export it to FBX. This was the left one. And let's do the to the right. So hit new, delete everything, import. You know the drill by now. But still, it's easy to forget. If you keep the previous animation in, you will have 2 animation layers. So it's not wrong, but it's a little bit more. It's different than we work right now. So let's select scale on the Y-axis -1, scale on the X-axis -1, and then export to right cover sneak with rifle. Okay, now let's make use of these animations because now we need to assign, we want to, when we are moving left and right, when we are in cover, we want to use those animations. So with those animations selected, I'm first going to change the names here again. Left cover, maybe cover, change the name here, cover walk left. Make sure you loop it by loop time and loop pose, and then cover walk right, cover, walk right. Again, loop it and hit apply. Okay. So we already swapped it around, these animations, but now we need to assign it. So we're going to change our cover idle here animation here to a blend tree, just like we did with the movement. So right click the cover idle and select create new blend tree in state. Then it will switch the motion to a blend tree. So now double click it, and we just need one D blend type because we're only using the horizontal value here because we're only allowing left and right movement. We're gonna need 3 animations, one for our idle, move left and move right. So let's add these. Now don't get overwhelmed by looking at this, it's fairly easy. Move left, we're gonna assign here, idle, we're gonna assign here, and move right here. Now the thresholds are actually the values of when the animation will blend or play. Now it automates the thresholds now, so it says it divides it, but we don't want it. We want to disable that. We don't need this as well. What we're gonna do, the threshold for moving left is -1. Or maybe it's going to be +1 because we rotated it around, but we'll see. And then if we are idle, we are with 0 value on the horizontal value and 1 if we want to move right. Okay, so now assign the cover idle to the middle one, and then walk left right here, and the walk right here. So now we have a blend tree. So you can see in the if I change the horizontal input, you can see the red bar moving towards the -1 value, which will start the walk left and walk right. Okay. So let's see what happens. So we get into cover because the checkbox is checked by default right now. But if we move left now, yeah, it's switched around. But it works. Still a little bit fast. So what we're going to do, we're going to set this to 1, and this to -1. Let's see, maybe. Yeah, now it does what we want. It looks strange here because it swapped it around, but if you look, you can see it's still moving. It's too fast, but if we go into walk mode, it's probably good. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna reduce the walking speed to the movement speed to walking speed when we are in cover. And the head is always looking to the left. I think we should change that later to look straight at the camera maybe, because it looks a little bit weird. And also when we stop moving, we should keep looking in the direction we were moving, but we're gonna add that later. Okay, so now let's get that all in action here with our script. So let's open up our player cover script, and let's first get a reference to our animator of our local player to change the is in cover value. So let's see how we going to do it. Player animation. Okay, so right here we are always looking at the input controller. But for our is aiming, we're looking at our player state, and we're gonna do the same thing for our new value here for is in cover. So let's get a reference to our or maybe we could use our event bus. Yeah, let's do it. Only is it, yeah, should be okay. So event, I think we have it in our game manager. Instance event bus. Let's create a new listener. Let's call this is in cover toggle. Maybe cover toggle. And let's add a new event listener. There we go. And the method will be a new delegate here. And maybe we're gonna make a void toggle cover. And then we're gonna say here toggle cover. Okay. And let's make a private variable here. Bool is in cover. And by default we're gonna say it's false. So our animator set bool is in cover. Is in cover. Let's check if it's yeah, is in cover. And then we're gonna say here the is in cover equals to not is in cover. So this will flip it around. If it's true, it's going to be false, and if it's false, it's going to be true. Let's see. Now we need to raise this method. So raise the event. I'm sorry, raise the event. So we're going to do this in the player cover. This right here. We're going to say cover toggle. Game manager instance event bus raise event cover toggle. Let's we still have a rotation here, so I think we can get rid of that. Well, let's see what happens. We probably are forgetting something, but let's first reduce the volume a little bit. There we go. It comes out of cover, but I'm not really sure if that works the way I want it to work. Let's see, if I press F, it goes into cover. I can move here, I can move here. Okay. Looks like I'm not really attached to the wall. No, see? Oh, that's because my camera isn't oh yeah, stupid me. I needed to of course rotate against the normal, but I don't think we need to flip it around. Let's see if we get rid of this, what happens. Okay, so we need it, yeah. Okay, let's head it back. I think we got it this way. Now make sure we are now we can see the values of the animator if we got the SWAT selected, so I can see that our is in cover turns on. I can move left and right. I still need to slow down the movement, but that's okay. And now if I hit F again, nothing happens. And this is probably because I don't know why why it is. So let's say a print here. here. It said here once. Again, yeah. So let's check if the event single shot. By default, it's true. I don't think we need it to be true single shot. I think by default it should be false. There we go. Now it turns back again. So I press F again, and it turns around, and I can do the way I wanted it at first. Cool. Okay, now next up is that we are able to actually aim again when we are in cover. And when we are getting out of this cover, it needs to automatically turn out of cover. Okay, so let's use the player to adjust our speed as well, to switch it to walking. And we could use the, let's see, player input is walking. If we're holding left alt, yeah, let's make also let's listen to the event here as well for a cover toggle. So let's copy the part over from our animation. This part, and in our player, I'm not entirely sure if I want this here. I actually don't really want a new method here, but well, okay. In the awake method, let's add the cover toggle listener, and let's also make. You know, I'm duplicating code right now, so that's not really what I want. Not even sure why I'm doing it right now. Then this usually results in bad coding, but I want to see if it works. So we're gonna say here, if is in cover, we will also always have the move speed of settings walk speed. I commented in a comment in a different video once. Somebody asked me why I didn't use else ifs. I don't use else if because I really don't like else ifs. I mean, it just doesn't look very nice. I just make sure here that one is overriding the other, you know. So if I'm sprinting, it should be okay, but if I'm in cover, it should always be walking. Now you could also use a switch, but I think this works perfectly well here, and it's very readable, and that goes above all. Okay. Okay, so let's see if it works. There we go. Now I'm sneaking nicely, and I can press shift to run, but it won't do anything because we are overriding it. No, go away. Again, it looks really weird that we are going back to idle with a left looking state, but we will fix this later on. For moving to the right, it looks pretty nice. The speed is maybe a little bit off. We might change that. Yeah, we will change that, but I think this is cool. So now next up is aiming. Let's see, how are we going to aim? I mean, if I hit F now and press right mouse, I start aiming. If I release it, it will go back to cover. So I'm just trying to figure out what I want to achieve here. I mean, we cannot really shoot from this angle. Well, we aren't left-handed, so maybe that's good. But if we are standing here, yeah. So what we want to do when we are getting cover and we are pressing the right mouse, we want to come out of cover and aim. Okay? And then when we release cover, we want to go back again. Like this. I'm doing it manually now, but okay. So we're gonna need the let's see, camera too. I think. I mean, it looks here for aiming. We could use the state as well for covering. Let's look here. We have a move state cover. At least I have. I'm not really sure if I created this later on. Yeah, it would be that would be nice. So if you don't have the move state cover here yet, create a new move state cover. And let's see, right here we are. Yeah, that is what we're going to do. We're gonna get the let's get rid of this. We're gonna get the event here. I'm sorry, we're gonna listen to the event here. So in the player animation, we're gonna take this part, and in our player state, we're gonna listen for it. So in our awake method, we don't have one here. So let's make a void awake. Pass this here and add the toggle cover here. And then our Boolean value here. There we go. Now, if we are in cover, we're gonna say move state equals to emove state. Emove state cover. Okay, so now we can, from a player animation, I think we can get rid of this and rid of this. And here we're gonna check the player state. Weapon state, no. Move state, cover. Okay. We have to check if that's the case. This one. If this equals to cover. Okay, so now in our we're going to raise the event here in our animation. We have already gotten rid of everything, and then we're going to use the same in the player class. Remove what we just did, and is in cover. Let's get rid of that variable here as well. We have a player state variable, so here we can say player state, move state, sorry, is this what player state is this? Player state. We have the move state. Is this a public? Yeah. So back to the player state, move state. If this equals to cover, we are going to walk. This is much better than we had 2 minutes ago. So we're going to use this also for our camera. So if we are aiming, or if we are firing, aiming, we're going to switch to the camera, so we can then also say or. No, not specifically when we are in cover, of course. Let's see, if we are going to aim, we want to come out of cover. That is what we want. So let's get back to our player cover. So what we need to do, we need to toggle the cover when we are aiming, so we are getting out of cover, and also when we move out of cover, we want to cancel the cover animation too. So what we are going to do first, we're going to change this part to the input controllers. So this is going to be Game Manager instance input controller, and we need a new here. Let's call this public bool cover toggle. And then somewhere here, no, here, cover toggle equals to input get key down. So only when we are pressing it down and not when holding it. We're going to say key code F for now. Okay. So now we can say here in our cover toggle button if this is true. Now what we're going to do, we're going to create a new method, void, let's call this take cover, and let's copy this over here, take cover, and let's paste it here. And then we have this variable here is in cover, which we don't use right now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set that, we're gonna toggle that as well. So let's here say is in cover equals to not is in cover. Is in cover. This is again very helpful to switch something back. To toggle something. I mean, if it's true, it's going to be false, and if it's false, it's going to be not true, so then it's going to be false again. Or if it's false, it's going to be not false, so it's true. So this way you toggle it around. Okay, I'm sure you get the deal. Now what we want to know if we are aiming. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a bool is aiming, and this is a getter which will return the game manager instance local player player state, and then the weapon state. If this equals to aiming or aim firing, it's going to return true. So we're going to return this. So this parameter, this value will get our if we are aiming. So then we, in our update method, we can say if we are aiming, and if we are in cover, we need to get out of cover or toggle the cover. So this could be. We should change this. Void, let's call this execute cover toggle, which is actually only this part. And we're gonna always execute the cover toggle in the take cover method, which is called here when we are pressing F. When we are pressing F, we will find the cover, and if we can take cover, we will take cover. And if we are aiming and we are already in cover, we're gonna execute cover toggle and then return out of the method. Okay, so if we are aiming and we are in cover, we're gonna execute this, so it will go back to false. So let's see if this actually works. So we stand here in cover and we aim and then we go out of cover. Okay, now one more thing, if we are standing here and we are moving away, we will stay in this weird animation. So then we also need to skip it out. Also execute the cover toggle, and the best place to do it is this one. This is fed by the trigger, so we can say here if can take cover, if we cannot take cover, and if we are in cover, we're also gonna jump out here. And I think this is pretty much it. So we stand here, we press F, nice, we get in cover, and we're out. Again in cover, I shoot. This is weird from this angle. Let's see if we can fix it later on with a different animation. So if I would stand here and I duck, yeah, this is pretty nice. Yeah, cool. So I don't need to press F to get out of it again. Maybe the you can see it's a little bit big, the collider, so you can reduce the collider a little bit for the cover wall. See, it's a little bit big, so maybe if we make it wrong one, the trigger, of course, 1.5, it's a little bit less. We can still easily get in cover and get out. Okay, just reminds me, I just need to, we could get rid of this rotating too, but I think we're going to keep it for now because it's already 2 parts on taking cover, and I just want to keep on going with some new stuff too. So, well, I think this pretty much works, and if you want to change things, feel free to do so. Okay, guys, that's it for now, and thank you very much for listening and viewing, and hopefully you're learning. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comment section below, and I will try to answer them as fast as possible. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.